So the end of this week on Friday, you will have one of the biggest Yom Tivs in the time of Galus. For sure, we are awaiting the biggest Yom Tiv of the ultimate redemption. It didn't happen this Shabbos when Mashiach's birthday was then. Shabbos afternoon. It didn't have on Tisha B'Av, Nitcha, which basically, since it's pushed off, it's brought down the Gemara, should be pushed off forever. But that didn't happen either. So we're waiting for the ultimate redemption, which that is the biggest aliyah. So it says there was no greater Yom Tov than Chamisha Asa B'Av, Tu B'Av. It's the 15th day of Chodesh Menachem Av. Now we count to the moon. That means our months go according to the moon. Like we blessed the new moon, we'd say the end of the 10th of the fast day of Tisha B'Av. We bless the moon, and we know we go according to the moon. So we can ask a question. Sure, Chamisha Asa B'Av is a very great day, but we have also Chamisha Asa of Tishrei, that they reach such a high level of Tshuva Tata, Tshuva Ilah, of the Aseret Simei Tshuva. You have then Tshuva Ilah, the higher Tshuva. And then you go from Rosh Hashanah or even Chodesh Elul, which Chodesh Elul is also a time of Tshuva, Eis Ratzin, a time of will. And keep on going until Tu B'Av. Pesach, they had a great descent. They were in Egypt. So they had a big aliyah on Pesach. But Pesach is not the biggest Yom Tiv. Chamisha Asa B'Av is this big Yom Tiv. We make a big simcha on Chamisha Asa B'Av. So what's the idea behind this? As follows. Tisha B'Av is one of the greatest descent for the Jewish people. The greatest upon greatest. There's no greater descent. There's no greater defilement of God's name that the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed. So even though in Mitzrayim they had 210 years of hard labor, but the hard labor is finished off on Rosh Hashanah, and then came the Makis. But still then, the Jewish people were not yet called a kingly priest, a nation of kingly priests. Then for sure, when the Beis HaMikdash was born, we were called a holy nation. And still we were thrown away from our temples, and our temples were destroyed. Before Matan Torah, we were not a kingly priest, a nation of kingly priests. When we had the Beis HaMikdash, we were at the table of God. There was no greater descent for the Jewish people than the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash. And that's why there will be a greater elevation by the ultimate redemption, and that's why Chodesh Menachem Av, the 15th day, is a great Yom Tiv. Today is Yom Sheni. We know that it says in the Shir Shal Yom of Yom Sheni, Gadol Havayim Hula Me'oid Be'ir Elikenu. Great is God in the city of Elikenu. There's two explanations. One is when he comes down, he has greatness. And another explanation is Dafka over there, he has greatness. Not in the upper worlds. Bir Elikenu, Shem Elikim. Dafka when he comes down, Bir Elikenu, that's where he is great. Now we see a phenomenal thing happened on the second day of creation. That before the creation, when the waters were intertwined, all waters were before God. On the second day, God separated the waters, and the mayim tachtoinim boichim. They are crying, they're under, the water's under. We want to be Lamaila. We want to be close to God. How can it be Gadol Havayil Keinu Ma'od? How can it be the greatness of God happens dafka when He come down into the world on Yom Sheni? When we have this whole destruction of the unification of the two waters, until it's crying, why can't we be close to God the same way that we were before? And it's the same thing we do. We had the time of the Beis Hamikdash, we were very holy. Our neshamas, the way it was above, are very holy. And then it comes down into the world from the highest level. Me'igra Rama, from the highest level, comes down to the lowest level. For what? To make a dira b'tachtoinim. To make a dwelling place down, down below. In the place where we needed so many nullifications. We needed so many concealments. Like the sun now. If you want to look on the sun with your eyes, you cannot see it. God put an ozone layer that is Kishemesh Magin Havaya Elikim. That Elikim covers over Shem Havaya. That we should be able to grasp it. Shem Havaya by itself will never be able to grasp it. Therefore it comes down through many contractions and concealments, one after another, one after another, one after another, until we can create this world. And without the cover on the sun, we'll never be able to look up on the sun. And even now we can't look up on the sun. So the same idea is that the dafka down here is Gadol Havaya Elikenu Be'ir Elikenu. Gadol Havaya Elikenu Ma'od Be'ir Elikenu. Why? Because it's the Aliyah which comes afterwards. Because every Aliyah, every Yerida brings an Aliyah. You go to the lowest level and bring godliness down, that elevates the neshama to a much higher level. It's dafka when you come down, that brings the aliyah. And just like Rabbi Akiva laughed, and all his friends there were crying that they saw a wolf running through the Beis Hamikdash, Kodesh HaKadoshim. He was laughing. The idea was because he knew that if the first half of the Nevuah will come true, the second half of the Nevuah will come true. And that is the building of the Beis HaMikdash to be taken from Yad Mamash now. But every Yerida brings through a greater Aliyah. And that's the reason why we learn Torah and we do mitzvahs in Olam Hazeh. Because that's how we make God great in this world. By learning Torah and doing mitzvahs. Not giving your own explanation in Torah, but learning Torah la'mitasa, to the truth. Learn Pnimius HaTorah, the esoteric level of Torah, which we know there are shiurim all over the internet about on the esoteric parts of Torah. And every single part of Torah. And as we know that when it comes Chamisha Asa B'Av, it gets cooler and the nights get longer. And just like we are Mosef Chayis in Hashem, that we make greater God's name, Dafka down here, by doing Torah and mitzvahs, we strengthen godliness, the level of God. So too by learning Torah by night. Like it says, through this which the Yom Tiv of Rosh Hashanah is much higher. The days of Yom Tiv by night are much longer. And therefore, we learn more Torah. And by learning more Torah by night, we are Mosef Chayim. Not only Chayim to yourself, but Mosef Chayim and Hashem. Chayus in Atzilus. Chayim, your Magdil, you make greater Shem Havaya. And through learning Torah in the time of Golus, and doing mitzvahs, we come to the time of Kimitzia and Teitzei Seira Dvar Avayim Yerushalayim. And we'll have the Geulah Amitis Vashlema imminently right now. Long live our Master, Teacher, and Rebbe King Moshiach forever and ever. Long live our Master, Teacher, and Rebbe King Moshiach forever and ever. Shall have this Gals of Mashiach take it from Yad Mamash Na Yechi Adinenu. Long live our Master, Teacher, and Rebbe King Moshiach forever and ever. Long live our Master and Teacher and Rebbe King Moshiach forever and ever. Long live our Master, Teacher, and Rebbe King Moshiach forever and ever.